The 2008 New Mexico State $quarter coin is one of those pieces that at first seems like just another part of the circulating change in your pocket, but upon closer inspection reveals itself to be packed with history, artistry, and even the potential for extraordinary value if you happen to encounter one of the rare error varieties or pristine high-grade examples. Issued as part of the immensely popular 50-state quarters program, the New Mexico quarter stands out because of its striking design, its representation of the Southwest's unique heritage, and the way certain rare minting mistakes have transformed ordinary coins into prized collectibles worth far more than 25 cents. In fact, some examples of this coin have sold at auction for thousands of dollars, with particularly rare and dramatic error coins climbing into the tens of thousands, with values ranging in some cases from $45,000 to over $100,000, making this coin an exciting one to discuss. When we think of the state quarters program, which began in 1999 and ran until 2008, the idea was to celebrate each of the 50 states with a special design on the reverse of the Washington quarter. This program was one of the most successful numismatic campaigns ever run by the U.S. Mint, engaging millions of Americans who began saving quarters for the first time in their lives. Suddenly, a coin that had long been overlooked became the subject of dinner table conversation, school projects, and casual collecting. The program encouraged people not just to see coins as money, but to appreciate them as miniature works of art that told the story of each state's culture, history, and values. New Mexico's turn came in 2008, and the design chosen for its quarter is particularly striking. On the reverse, you see the Zia sun symbol, a powerful emblem drawn from the state flag. The Zia symbol is deeply connected to Native American culture, with its 4 groups of rays radiating from a central circle, representing important values such as the 4 directions, the 4 seasons, the 4 stages of life, and the 4 sacred obligations. Behind the Zia symbol on the quarter is a detailed outline of the state of New Mexico itself, and inside that outline is a line marking the famous Route 66, the historic highway that has been immortalized in song and story. The words New Mexico 1912 appear to the right, referencing the year the state was admitted to the Union, and below the design is the phrase Land of Enchantment, the state's motto. The designer managed to combine cultural, historical, and geographic elements into a single, bold statement on the face of a coin that on the obverse, of course, is the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed originally by John Flanagan back in 1932 and modified over the years to suit modern minting technology. Washington's image on the New Mexico quarter is the same as that on other state quarters of the series, but the combination with the unique reverse gives the coin its distinct personality. When the New Mexico quarter was released in April of 2008, it was minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities for general circulation. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof versions, both in clad and silver, aimed directly at collectors. With circulation mintages in the hundreds of millions, it's safe to say that the New Mexico quarter is not rare in its standard form. In fact, you can still easily find them in circulation today. However, just as with other quarters, the real excitement comes when you look at condition and errors. Collectors quickly noticed that high-grade mint state examples of the New Mexico quarter could be quite valuable. While circulated coins are worth only face value, coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 by PCGS or NGC can command impressive premiums. For instance, MS-67 examples can bring $100 to $250 at auction, while the even rarer MS-68 coins have been known to reach into the thousands. These values stem from the fact that out of the hundreds of millions struck, only a tiny handful emerge from the mint with nearly flawless surfaces and exceptional eye appeal. The same is true for proof coins. While most proof quarters might sell for a modest premium, a PR70 Deep Cameo New Mexico quarter, absolutely perfect in every detail, can bring $50 to $200, with silver proofs fetching even higher prices. But the real headline-grabbing stories are connected to error coins. Mint errors are among the most thrilling finds in coin collecting because they represent accidents in the carefully controlled process of coin production. With so many coins being struck each day, even the smallest mistake can result in a dramatic anomaly that collectors scramble to own. For the 2008 New Mexico quarter, one of the most famous errors is the double die variety. Doubling can appear on the Zia sun symbol, the lettering, or even the outline of the state itself. These doubled features can be subtle or very strong, and when they are clear and dramatic, they can command auction prices well into the thousands. A sharp double die showing obvious separation in the rays of the Zia symbol or the letters of Land of Enchantment would immediately attract serious attention from error specialists. Off-center strikes are another type of error that collectors treasure. When a coin is struck while the blank is improperly aligned, part of the design is missing and a crescent of blank metal appears. For New Mexico quarters struck 5% to 10% off-center, values can reach $100 to $200, while dramatic off-center strikes of 40% or more, especially if the date remains visible, can command $500 or more. Missing clad layer errors are even more stunning. Modern quarters are made from a copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel alloy. If one of these layers is missing, the coin appears reddish on one side and silvery on the other. These striking errors are highly desirable, and New Mexico quarters with missing clad layers have sold for over $1,000 depending on condition. Broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails to confine the metal during striking, cause the coin to spread out wider and appear misshapen. These errors, though less visually dramatic than some, still bring premiums of $50 to $150. Die cracks, cuds, and other small anomalies also appear on some 2008 New Mexico quarters, and while they may only bring $20 to $50, they are still eagerly collected. The most valuable and sensational errors, however, are the so-called wrong planchet or double denomination errors. Imagine a New Mexico quarter struck on a nickel or dime blank, or even over the design of another coin entirely. These are incredibly rare, but when they surface, they make headlines. Similar wrong planchet errors from other state quarters have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and if one featuring New Mexico has or were to come to auction, it could easily reach values in the range of $45,000 to $100,000, depending on visibility and condition. Auction records confirm the excitement surrounding the New Mexico quarter. One MS-68 example from the Denver Mint sold for nearly $3,000 at a major auction, showing the premium collectors are willing to pay for perfection. Error coins have also sold strongly, with off-center and missing clad layer examples reaching into the thousands. Collectors are willing to bid aggressively because these errors are both rare and visually appealing, giving them a place of honor in any collection. The 2008 New Mexico quarter thus represents both accessibility and exclusivity. It is accessible because millions were minted and they are still found in everyday change, making it possible for anyone to stumble upon one. At the same time, it is exclusive because the highest grades and rarest errors are worth incredible sums, elevating a simple 25-cent coin into a treasure that could fund a vacation, pay off debt, or even change someone's financial outlook. The beauty of this story is that it can happen to anyone. You might be sorting through a handful of quarters from the grocery store, only to notice something unusual about the design. Maybe the Zia symbol looks doubled, or the coin feels off in shape, or one side has a coppery glow. That's the thrill of coin collecting. The possibility that the next great discovery is waiting in your pocket at ASA closing thought. The New Mexico State Quarter is more than just a coin. It is a tribute to the culture, history, and geography of one of America's most unique states, and it is a symbol of how a mass-produced object can become a one-of-a-kind treasure. Whether you are drawn by its design, its role in the state quarters program, or the extraordinary values achieved by rare examples at auction, the 2008 New Mexico quarter proves, once again, that small things can carry big stories and even bigger rewards. The 1998 United States Washington quarter-dollar coin is one of those fascinating pieces of modern American coinage that sits quietly in circulation, often overlooked by the millions who handle it daily, yet it carries stories, errors, and values that can astonish even the most experienced collectors. At first glance, it looks just like any other quarter from the 1990s, bearing the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the heraldic eagle on the back. But within this year's production lies a mixture of history, artistry, minting quirks, and collector demand that has turned some examples of the 1998 quarter into treasures worth far more than their face value. While the majority of these coins are worth 25 cents, rare varieties and pristine examples have fetched thousands at auctions, with extraordinary error coins reaching staggering sums between $48,000 and $130,000, making it a coin worth a second look. The Washington quarter had been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage for over 6 decades by the time the 1998 issue was struck. Originally introduced in 1932 to celebrate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, The design by John Flanagan quickly became one of the most recognized in American history. On the obverse, Washington's left-facing bust is accompanied by the word "Liberty" above, "In God We Trust" to the side, and the year of mintage below. The reverse, designed with equal boldness, depicts a heraldic eagle with wings spread, perched upon a bundle of arrows with an olive branch below, symbolizing both strength and peace. Above the eagle's head is the Latin phrase "E pluribus unum," while the outer inscriptions read "United States of America" and "Quarter Dollar." By 1998, the Washington quarter design had already spanned generations, but it was also on the cusp of change. The following year, in 1999, the Revolutionary State Quarters program would begin, replacing the traditional eagle reverse with designs celebrating each state. This meant that 1998 was the final full year of the classic Washington quarter design, making it historically significant as the last of an era. For many collectors, the 1998 issue is a farewell coin of sorts, the last link to a design tradition that had endured since the Great Depression. When it comes to production, the 1998 Washington quarter was minted in enormous numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 896 million coins, while the Denver Mint struck approximately 821 million. The San Francisco Mint added another 2.1 million proof coins for collectors. With such high mintage figures, one might assume the 1998 quarter has little collectible value. However, as is often the case, rarity is not solely about quantity. It is about condition, errors, and variations. Circulated 1998 quarters are still extremely common, showing up in cash registers, vending machines, and change jars across America. Most of these coins are worth only their face value. But the story changes dramatically when it comes to uncirculated and proof examples. Coins graded MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can command strong premiums, with prices ranging from $150 to $500. The elusive MS-68 examples, nearly flawless in every detail, have sold for thousands of dollars. Since only a handful of such high-grade specimens exist, proof coins from San Francisco are another area of interest. These coins, struck with polished dies on specially prepared planchets, exhibit sharp details and mirror-like fields. Collectors seek them in the highest grades possible, with PR-70 deep cameo examples bringing $100 to $300 depending on demand, while PR-69 examples are much more affordable at $20 to $50. These proofs are particularly cherished because they represent the last year before the state quarters program began, giving them a symbolic importance as well as a collectible one. Where the excitement truly comes alive, however, is in the discovery of minting errors. The 1998 Washington quarter has been found with a variety of dramatic errors that have made it a star among collectors. One of the most notable is the off-center strike. In these coins, the design is struck off to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the misalignment, the higher the value, especially if the date remains visible. Off-center errors for 1998 quarters can range from $100 to $500, with extreme examples bringing much more. Another fascinating error is the double die, where the details of the coin show clear doubling due to a mistake during die creation. Doubling in the date, the letters of liberty, or "In God We Trust," can make these coins extremely valuable. Strong double die errors have been known to sell for thousands, especially when certified by a grading service. Missing clad layer errors are also dramatic. Since modern quarters are composed of a copper core sandwiched between two copper-nickel outer layers, sometimes one of those layers fails to bond. When struck, the result is a coin that appears reddish-brown on one side, revealing the copper core. Such errors are instantly recognizable and can sell for $500 to over $1,500 depending on grade and eye appeal. Broad strike errors, caused when a coin is struck without the collar that normally keeps it in place, result in an expanded and distorted quarter that looks unusual and commands collector interest. These errors typically bring $50 to $150. Even more spectacular are double denomination errors, where a quarter is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a dime. These are incredibly rare but can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, instantly turning an ordinary-looking quarter into a prize worth showing off. Auction history proves just how valuable the 1998 Washington quarter can be in the right circumstances. In one remarkable sale, A 1998 P-quarter graded MS-68 sold for more than $3,000, setting a benchmark for the issue. Proof examples graded PR-70 Deep Cameo have realized $250 to $500 at major auctions. Error coins are perhaps the most eye-catching, with dramatic off-center or missing clad layer examples selling for thousands. In fact, the rarest and most spectacular errors for 1998 Washington quarters have been valued anywhere between $48,000 and $130,000, especially when offered at prestigious auction houses where demand from advanced collectors runs high. For collectors and enthusiasts, the 1998 quarter offers a blend of accessibility and potential. On one hand, it is an affordable coin, readily available in circulation and inexpensive in lower grades. On the other hand, it offers the thrill of the hunt, the chance to uncover a flawless gem or a striking error coin that could be worth thousands. It also carries the symbolic weight of being the final year of the traditional Washington quarter before the state quarters revolutionized collecting in 1999. Imagine the excitement of searching through rolls of quarters from the bank, or even just glancing through pocket change, only to spot something unusual: a doubled inscription, a reddish copper side, or a perfectly preserved quarter that seems to shine brighter than the rest. That simple observation could lead to a discovery worth far more than its face value, possibly even tens of thousands of dollars if it is a rare error. These stories are what fuel the passion of collectors, proving that sometimes treasure really can be hiding in plain sight. The 1998 Washington quarter dollar is therefore more than just a piece of currency. It's a link to history, a final farewell to a design tradition, and a potential hidden treasure for those who pay close attention. While billions were struck, the rarest examples with high grades or dramatic errors stand apart, carrying values that shock and amaze at auction. So the next time you find a 1998 quarter in your change, don't dismiss it too quickly. Take a closer look, because what you hold in your hand might not just be a simple 25-cent coin. It could be a valuable collector's item, a small piece of American history, and possibly even a hidden fortune. The 1972 United States Kennedy half dollar is one of those coins that seems familiar to almost everyone who has handled American money, yet it carries a history and collector appeal that many overlook. At first glance, it's a large silver-colored coin worth 50 cents, but for collectors, this piece tells a deeper story. One that involves tribute, design changes, minting variations, and in some rare cases, incredible value when mint errors or high-grade examples are discovered. What makes the 1972 Kennedy half dollar fascinating is not just its design but the unique place it occupies in the series, coming during a period when America's coinage was transitioning from silver to clad compositions. The Kennedy half dollar series began in 1964, struck as a memorial to President John F. Kennedy following his tragic assassination in 1963. Sculptor Gilroy Roberts created the portrait of Kennedy for the obverse, while Frank Gasparo designed the reverse, featuring the presidential seal with a heraldic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by a ring of stars. This design became one of the most iconic in modern U.S. coinage, symbolizing honor and remembrance while also being one of the largest coins in circulation. By 1972, the Kennedy half dollar had already undergone significant changes in composition. The first year, 1964, the coin was struck in 90% silver. From 1965 to 1970, it was made of 40% silver. But beginning in 1971, the composition shifted to copper-nickel clad over a pure copper core, eliminating silver altogether for regular circulation strikes. That means the 1972 Kennedy half dollar, like most that followed, contains no silver. It weighs 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, and has the distinctive reeded edge that most U.S. coins of this size display. On the obverse of the 1972 coin, Kennedy's left-facing profile is bold and strong, surrounded by the word Liberty across the top. In God We Trust, divided by his neck, and the date 1972 along the bottom. The mint mark, if present, appears just below Kennedy's neck truncation and above the date. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, Denver coins carry the D, and San Francisco struck both proof and special collector coins with the S mint mark. The reverse features the presidential eagle design that collectors know so well. The eagle holds arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing America's readiness for both defense and peace. A shield covers the eagle's chest, and above its head is a ring of stars and a burst of rays. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions United States of America and half dollar, with E pluribus unum just above the eagle's head. Billions of Kennedy half dollars were minted in 1972 across Philadelphia and Denver, with San Francisco focusing on proof issues. Because of these large mintages, circulated 1972 halves are common and generally worth only face value. However, as with many coins, condition, rarity, and errors are where things get interesting. In circulated grades, a 1972 Kennedy half dollar is usually just 50 cents. But in higher mint state grades, collectors will pay premiums. MS-65 examples can bring $15 to $25, while MS-66 or MS-67 coins, especially with strong luster and no distracting marks, can sell for $100 to $300. Very few survive in these top grades because large coins like half dollars are prone to bag marks from the minting process. Proof coins struck at San Francisco are also highly collectible. A 1972 S-proof graded PR69 or PR70 deep cameo can range from $50 to $150 depending on the market. Error coins, however, are where the real excitement lies. The 1972 Kennedy half is known for a variety of striking mistakes. One of the most dramatic is the off-center strike. Coins that show part of the design missing with blank planchet visible are highly prized. A 1972 half dollar struck 50% off-center with the date visible could easily sell for $400 to $800 at auction. Double strikes are another sought-after error. When the coin is struck more than once with a visible shift, Kennedy's portrait may appear doubled, or the eagle on the reverse may look ghosted. These unusual pieces often sell for several $100s. Wrong planchet errors also exist, where the Kennedy design was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. Imagine a half-dollar design struck on a quarter-size planchet. It would be smaller, lighter, and incredibly rare. Wrong planchet examples can sell for $1,000 or more. Missing clad layer errors are particularly dramatic on Kennedy halves because of their size. When one side of the coin lacks the outer nickel layer, the copper core is exposed, giving it a two-tone look. These can bring $500 or more depending on eye appeal. Clipped planchet errors, where part of the blank metal is missing before striking, create coins with curved or straight clips along the edge. A 1972 half dollar with a dramatic clip can sell for $100 to $200. Strike-through errors, where grease, debris, or foreign material interferes during the strike, can also be valuable, especially when large parts of the design are missing. Auction records highlight the potential value of these coins. A 1972 D half dollar graded MS-67 sold for over $1,500 due to its incredible condition rarity. A 1972 S-proof half dollar graded PR70 deep cameo has sold for $200. Off-center and double strike error examples from this year have brought anywhere from $300 to $1,000, while wrong planchet coins can soar even higher. The 1972 Kennedy half dollar is also a coin of transition. It reflects the new era of clad coinage that defined U.S. currency after the removal of silver. At the same time, it kept alive the tribute to John F. Kennedy, whose legacy was honored by Americans every time they held the coin. Collectors often see the 1972 half as a representative piece of 1970s coinage, large, bold, and enduring in its design. For collectors today, the 1972 half dollar remains both affordable and exciting. For beginners, it's easy to find in circulation or coin shops for face value or just a small premium. For advanced collectors, high-grade coins and errors present challenges and opportunities, with some pieces worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So the next time you come across a 1972 Kennedy half dollar, don't dismiss it as just another big coin. Look closer. Is it uncirculated, with bright luster and no marks? Does it show signs of an error strike, like off-centering, missing clad, or doubling? Could it be a proof from San Francisco with perfect mirror fields? Any of these factors could transform a 50-cent piece into a collectible treasure. That's the beauty of coins like the 1972 Kennedy half dollar. They remind us that history, art, and value often hide in plain sight, in the everyday change we pass from hand to hand. For collectors, it's a symbol of how even a coin struck in the billions can still hold surprises. And for those lucky enough to find the rarest varieties, It can mean holding something worth far more than the number stamped on its face.